Hey everyone! Alright, so a lot of you have been asking for me to do another time-lapse video or another transformation video, and so I decided I would do that, but instead of just doing a time-lapse transformation type deal, I'm just gonna do this whole look in tutorial format. So this video is going to be long and that's okay, because I'm going to give you some tips and tricks and you're going to see how I do this, but not all of it, because I can't just give you the store, if you know what I mean. So that's pretty much it. So with all of that said, let's just go right ahead and get the tutorial started. Okay, so the first thing you're going to do, of course, is prime your skin. If you use a skin primer, if you have eyebrows and you need to cover them, now is the time you would do that. Get all of that out of the way, all your prep work. If you shave, then shave. If not, leave it. All prep work aside, I've shaved already. I don't have eyebrows, so I don't have to cover them. I don't use a primer, so I'm just going to go right into it, and I'm going to start with my foundation, which is Dermablend. I use Dermablend because it does not move, and my skin eats makeup, and by that I mean it takes makeup pretty well, but after about 5 minutes, if I don't put a lot on, it looks like my skin ate it because you don't really see much of it anymore. So I like Dermablend because it's thick and it's got full coverage, and then that way my skin doesn't eat it within 5 minutes and look like I have nothing on. Also, if you use beard cover or anything like that, orange, where you have facial hair, you would of course do this before you do your foundation. I'm using a sponge to do this instead of a brush because the cream I'm using is very thick and not too liquidy, so my sponge isn't going to soak up a lot of the product. So I'm not too worried about it. If I was using something that was a little bit more on the runny side, I would use a brush, only because I wouldn't want my sponge to soak up all of my product. And you'll notice I don't really do around my eyes, only because I'm going to use another cream there, so I don't want to put this on and then put another one. It just doesn't really make sense to me. I'm just going to go in with a Kryolan TV Pan Stick. This is my highlight color, and I'm going to do exactly that and highlight my face. And of course down the middle of my nose, a little there, like that. Again, gonna go in with just a sponge and blend. Put a little bit up here as well, because I forgot. Just use those as my eyebrows. That'd be funny. Maybe one of these days. And this isn't how I always do my makeup. Sometimes I'll just use color right here, my highlight, and then do my eyes first, and then I'll go in after my eyes are done and do the rest of my face, or I'll start my eyes and get like a good base with like a crease and just start working on my eyes. Once I have them started, then I'll go in and do the rest of my face. It honestly just depends on the night, the look I'm going for, colors I'm using, stuff like that. For the purpose of this video, I'm just doing it this way because this is just how I feel like doing it. So yeah. Then once you have all that on, you could go in and contour with the cream. It all depends on where you're going, what look you're going for, the lighting situation and stuff like that. I go over all of my creams with coordinating powders after I use an invisible setting powder or a translucent powder. And so if I contour with the cream, then you can still see that through the powder. So I only do that if I'm going to be somewhere where there's going to be really bright like spotlights and stuff like that, where you're in a club, it's dark, and there's one spot on you. Then I want that contour to really show, because that light is just going to eat away a lot of makeup most of the time, not all the time. But if I do contour, you can just use any kind of cream. These are from Alcone, but they're pretty much by the same people that do the Kryolan ones. They're just in pan form instead of stick. For the purpose of this video, I'm not going to contour with the cream because I'm just going to do it with a powder on its own. Back when I performed in Philly at Voyeur, I would do a cream and a powder contour, so it was really, really on there, and it was really, really like just beat in my face, but we're not doing that right now. Now that I have all the creams that I'm actually going to put on my face on, I'm going to go in with Coty powder. This is just translucent powder. It's their translucent extra coverage. And then I'm just gonna go in with a powder puff and just do a light dusting of this all over. And now that I have that on, just to set all of my creams, I'm gonna go in and bump up the color of my skin and just make everything look a little bit more flawless and have a lot more coverage to it. I prefer MAC Studio Fix powders. They're a full coverage powder foundation, and I just like the finish they have to them and the way they make my skin look when I'm in drag. So I'm actually using the same powder puff, and then I'm just gonna pack this on quite heavily. And the color I use is NC45, in case you're wondering. Same thing, this time with a highlight color. Now I'm starting my eyes. I'm gonna use purples and greens. I don't know what colors to use today, so I'm just gonna do a good old default. Since I'm doing a typical eye shape that I normally do, I might as well do typical colors that I normally do. So I'm just gonna do purple and green. So I'm going in with a purple liner, any kind of purple will do. This one is from NARS. And then I'm just going in and I'm gonna draw my shape. Now you can see that I'm drawing my crease a lot higher on this inside corner than my actual crease is. My actual crease is right here. This line you see right there where that socket line is. But I'm drawing it above and then I'm connecting it to my actual crease on the outside corner. A lot of people are always talking about how they don't have a crease, so they can't do this look, they can't do that look. Make one. You can make one, it's easy. All you have to do is draw a line, blend everything out, add dimension. If it's darker at the base of the line and fades out, it tricks the eye in making it look like there's actually a lot more depth there than there actually is. You can take a flat surface and make it look three-dimensional, so it's the same thing with your eye. Your eye is still three-dimensional, there's highs, there's lows, even if it is a little bit more on the flat side, but you can fake it. So if you want a crease, draw on a crease, blend it out, and make it look like you have one. There's no excuse, honestly. And then I'm gonna go in with the brush and blend this out. Then just to add a little bit more depth to it, I'm actually going in with Night Moth Lip Liner from MAC. And just doing this right at the base. Almost all the time when I'm in drag, I wear contacts. I'm not going to put contacts in today just to give my eyes a little bit of a break. But when I do wear contacts, I normally put them in before I start working on my eyes, just in case my eyes want to water a little bit. That way I won't mess up any of the makeup. Or I'll do all of the stuff on the top part of my eye first, then put my contacts in, and then do everything underneath. Since I'm not doing contacts, I'm just going to go in with Night Moth. It's a lip pencil, but I'm not putting it on my waterline, so I'm using it on my eye. I've never had problems with it, so some people might. Just warn you, but I'm using it only because I like the color. And now I'm going in and lining underneath my eye with it. And then I'm just going to do the same thing that I did for the top. I'm going to draw on the shape I want, and then I'm going to go in and blend it out. Now that I have that on, I'm going to go in with my Sugar Pill palette, and I'm going to use this one right there, which is Poison Plum, which is my all-time favorite purple in the world. And now I'm just going to put this right on top of all of the purple I just did. And just for fun, I'm going to go in with my Code Chemistry palette and put a little bit of Elemental Chaos, which is the purple. And I'm going to put a little bit of that right on the edge of this. Now I'm going in and working on my eyelids. Why did I just say it like that? I have no idea, but anyway, I'm working on my eyelid, and I'm going in with a cream, and this is from OCC. It's called Cthulhu. It's just like an exorcist puke green, like pea soup, like a pale pea soup, I guess you would call it. And I'm just gonna go in and put this all over my lid. Now that that's on, I'm gonna go back in with my Sugar Pill palette, and this time I'm gonna use this color, which is a green. I think it's called Acid Berry. I'm not sure. I'm not really good with the names. Same brush, but it's a bright lime green color. I'm just going to apply that all over the eyelid. Then once it's on the eyelid, same palette. This time going in with the yellow, which is called Butter Cupcake. I know that name. Same brush. And then I'm gonna put that on this inside part, pretty much next to the bridge of my nose, and then blend the two colors together where they meet on the lid. I'm gonna go in now with a small angled brush. And by the way, all the brushes I'm using in this video are by OCC if you haven't noticed. It's just, they're easy to use and they're synthetic, so they're easy to clean. But yeah. Going in with an angled brush, and I'm using Bulletproof eyeshadow from Sugar Pill, and I'm going in and just doing what I said earlier. If you have it darker at the baseline of your crease that you're creating and then blend it, you instantly get that effect that it's real. So you can see this doesn't touch where my actual crease is down in there, but it looks realistic. So I'm just going in and darkening up that baseline, and then I'm just going to go in with the same brush and flick the black up and out. So that way it has a nice fade to it. It makes everything look more realistic, more three-dimensional, and it has more pop. And then do the same on the bottom. And I forgot to mention earlier, if I was using glitter, I would do my glitter first before the black, because that way, if there's a little bit of the glitter adhesive that gets on my crease, it's just gonna make the black stick even more. So now I go in and I do my waterline. I don't like to get black on it, so that's why I do it after I do all like my lower liner and stuff like that. I just use a white eyeliner. This is Fascinating Eye Kohl from MAC. And the way I like to do it is I actually put it on the inside corner of my eye right there. And so I can make it even, I just pull straight in and down at the same angle that my top eyelid actually comes to. And that way I can make sure they're a little bit more on the even side. And then I just go in and do my waterline. Then after I have that on, I'm gonna go in with this color from Sugar Pill. It's called Diamond Eyes. It's just a super frosty white color. Gonna go in with an angled brush. This is a different one because the other one has black on it. And I'm just gonna pat that right on top of the fascinating eye kohl. And if you do press this on your waterline, please be careful so you don't get a lot of powder in your eye. Now to make my black lines a little bit sharper, I'm gonna go in with liquid liner now and do like the wing on the top and then to clean up the line on the bottom. And my favorite liquid liner, believe it or not, is by Wet n Wild. It's their Mega Liner. I like it because it actually stays on and it's got a brush tip applicator as opposed to the felt tip. One thing I will say about this is not waterproof, and I have cried this off plenty of times when my eye is watered and the liner will run. They do have a waterproof version, but the tip on it is a felt tip, so it's harder and I don't like it. Then again, you could always use your own brush with it, but I like being able to just use the applicator that's in it, because then if I don't have a brush, I don't have to worry about it. I don't have to get the product out. It's just a lot easier in my opinion, but yeah, this is one of my favorite liners and it's really cheap. It's only like $2, $2 or $3. So I like it. Wet n Wild had some great products. So yeah, just gonna go in and clean up my lines now. Then once that's done, you can put on mascara. And now I'm gonna do my lashes. The lashes I'm using are actually the ones that I made in my video showing everyone how to stack lashes. So I'm just gonna take my lash glue and apply them on my eye. If you need to know how to apply lashes, there is a video on that already. So I don't have to do that again, and I won't go into detail about how I put them on. My eyes are now done, so I'm gonna go in with powder brush and I'm just going to dust off all of the powder that's been sitting on my face this whole time. I'm gonna go in and I'm gonna start doing all of my contouring and blush. Once I have my blush on, I'm gonna go in with this color, which is Blunt Blush from MAC, and I'm gonna do all of my contouring. How you contour is up to you. What brush you use is gonna be up to you. Depending on how harsh I want my contours depends on the brush I use. Sometimes I use something stiff like this, other times I'll use something fluffier. It all depends on the day and on the look. Today it's calling for this one, obviously. Then once I have all of it how I want it, to make everything a little bit more precise, I go back in with the face powder and the highlight colors that I use just to go in and clean up my lines. So then that way everything's a little bit more even clean and pretty looking. I just dust it off. For my brows, I'm gonna use the Anastasia Brow Pro palette and then just draw on my eyebrow. And with my brows, I use the same thought process as I do for my cheeks. I like to start them really light and then I'll go in and I'll build up my color after, just so I can make sure they're somewhat symmetrical before I commit to drawing them on a lot darker. I know I've mentioned this before, but a really good tip about highlighting your brow bone, if you were to draw a line from the bottom corner right here to the bottom of this part of your brow, if you drew a straight line, that's where you highlight. If you don't go below that line, it makes your highlight look a little bit more realistic and natural, especially if you're doing something like I did, where my crease is in a different spot, and right here is where my real eyebrow actually grows. Done. Lips. I'm gonna do a nude lip only because I've been doing a lot of color on my lips lately and I want to get back into doing nude. So I'm gonna use Chestnut lip liner from MAC and just use that to line my lips. I overline my lips just a little bit. On the bottom, I go right below my natural lip line. And then on the top, I go above my natural lip line. Do a little blending. Just blending out the line so it's not super harsh. Now I'm gonna go in with Memento Lip Tar from OCC. Use a lip brush and just apply that. Then I'm gonna go in with this. This is OCC's Lip Tar Stained Gloss in Mine Air, which is like a nice creamy beige kind of color. And I'm gonna use that as my gloss. Then when you have that on, you're done. That's it. Let me go grab a wig because it's gonna look weird unless I put a wig on, so hold on. But this wig is actually called Dynamite. It's from Rockstar Wigs, and I wear it upside down, or backwards rather. Looks like, well actually if you just go to their website and look, you can see what it looks like the normal way, but I turn it around the wrong way. And I call this my I Want to Dance with Somebody Whitney Houston / Shaka Khan wig, because when you wear it upside down, it does this. It's huge, and this is just one wig. So with that said, I hope this is helpful to some of you, and until my next video, I will talk to all of you soon. Bye.